So I'm David Bean. I, like Clem, sailed in the Merchant Marine in the 60s. I'd fished before then. I fished first time way outside, 200 miles, was for albacore off of Mexico. And the long lining was mixed with the seining back then, because seining was new. And we were just working things out. So that's one thing, and that'll refer to this. Well, no, it's a way of referring to this poem, because when you're catching fish one by one, and you see people catching them in a crowd, it gets you thinking. And, you know, Oregon had a pretty damn smoky summer this year. And that's because we've gone past the chainsaw, which was cutting them one by one. Now we have the feller bunchers. Anybody here heard a feller buncher? They go, nyeh. That's a tree. That's what a tree sounds like. Nyeh. So we have to be aware of what we're doing, as our deep forest soil that held the water of these trees so tall that were big tanks of water that orbited around in their little environment that kept it cool for the salmon, and also that stopped fires. So I'm really concerned about us burning up. So I have this little, does anybody remember my short poem from last year? No, nobody? Here it comes, it's gonna come again. This is the shortest poem. It's called Too Much Wasabi. I cry. I have one that's a little longer than that. It's called, well, it doesn't have a name yet, but it said, people who treat trees like grass have their head stuck up their ass. So this one's called Hauling Net. Hand over hand, fishermen have a grip like no other. Having pulled net over the gunwale for 1,000 years, some strength develops in the hands of a fisherman. The power block of a seine boat can apply 500 horses to that task, done by hand for centuries stacked. How long will this last? How long will these schools last with all this power and technology? Call me a romantic, but there is more respect to catching big fish one by one when the big fish run. Catching them that way is a hell of a lot more fun. Yeah. Thank you.
Totally amazing, great work today. I'm Philip, this is Fresh Off the Griddle Friday. Tightening up the lines, or no, I didn't lose my left arm. John Broderick runs this great workshop on taking the slack out of your writing or tightening up your lines. He says, prose is beer, poems is whiskey. He has us write for 15 minutes. He says, tighten up your lines, tight as whiskey. But Charlie had only been drinking beer. I suppose that means he's just prose. Still, he's pretty tight. Tight enough so that when the skipper has told him to tighten the packing gland, that's the fitting that stops water from getting in where the prop shaft exits, hull to propeller. Charlie has undone its 2 nuts and dropped them in the bilge. And the lines were already tight. No, not these poetry lines. The lines between 8 or a dozen seiners rafted up, holding us together side by side. We were the anchor boat closest to the dock at Craig, a bit of stray current twisting it all north, so the line from our bow to the dock is tight. And our motor is running, maybe charging batteries. Charlie is so tight, I say, I'll take over. So I'm fishing around for the nuts and then threading them onto the studs, my left arm wrapped around the propeller shaft. Spoiler alert, in order to not cause anyone's suspense heart attacks, I'll let you know my arm survived. Please note also that John Broderick's workshop was on tightening up your lines, not on putting slack in your lines. Charlie has been gone for a few minutes. Sure, the rafting lines are tight as whiskey, but not as tight as Charlie. I never figure out how he thinks he can relieve the tension on the rafting lines by what he does next. What I experience, my arm all wrapped around the shaft, trying to tighten that nut, is that it suddenly rotates as Charlie throws the engine into gear. Well, yes, I yelled at him. Thank you.
Ocean people now. I am now going to show you. When a fish jumps, he jumps again after I say, you say, no mummy.
No mummy. No mummy.
After I say.
No mummy.
After I say.
Lyon.
I can't play till a while, men of play. I can't play till a while, men of play. One more time, you're doing real good. I can't play till a while, men of play. Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica. You're all part of what now? Ocean people. Good for you, you good fast learner. You know what this is? This is my friend the drum. And this is my stick, because I have the talking stick. So when you are with the family and friends, and if somebody wants to not give you a word, you pick up a pencil, pick up a stick, and when your children are you tell them, I have the what? Talking stick. Okay. We got that out of the way. You're learning real fast. Now I gotta blow my horn. I gotta blow it the right way or it's not gonna be right. Not like Jay Speakerman. He knows how to play harmonica. Nope, wrong one. That's what you call not gurgling, but what you call, what is it now? In the village in Alaska, the women would sing songs to their children. They do throat singing. And only the females can do it in Alaska. But since I'm part Mongolian, I'm allowed to do that, even in the public.
Yeah.
A year ago, we all stood together and held hands. Now we stand next to each other, no hand. With the person next to you, would you do me a favor? There is so much hate and so many sad things going on this earth. But at this present, we cannot do anything outside this walls. But we can do something here. And that is, do me one favor to the next person to you. Nod your head. Each one next to you, nod your head. One time I went to a funeral and I said, I'm sorry. And the person said, it was not your fault that they had died. Well, what do you say when you go to a funeral? The only thing you can really say is, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So with that in mind, 3 minutes goes by pretty fast. I guess we're gonna have to close with the, nope, got. Now I'm legal. Ocean people! Thank you!
Mo and Amanda insisted I have some bling. Humiliation was easier than resistance. It's fitting that I leave you with words that aren't my own. I wanted to recite a poem from a classic cowboy poet. Bruce Kiskadden wrote this poem in the 1930s. And it's how I've felt the last Saturday of February for the last 12 years now. Though you're not exactly blue, you don't feel like you do in the winter or those long hot summer days. Or your feelings and the weather seem to sort of go together and you're quiet in that dreamy autumn haze. When the last big steer's been goaded down the chute and safely loaded and the summer crew has ceased to hit the ball. When a feller starts to draggin' to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. There's just two men left a-standin' for the job of winter branding. Your partner, he's a-loafin' at your side, with a brand new saddle squeaking, yet you never hear him speaking and you feel it's gonna be a quiet ride. But you savvy one another, for you know him like a brother. Always friendly, he's just quiet, that is all. For he's thinking as he's dragging to the home ranch with the wagon, when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And the saddle horses stringing at an easy walk a-swinging behind the old chuck wagon moving slow. For they're weary, gaunt and jaded from the mud and muck they've waded. or they've settled down to business long ago. Not one horse is snorty, not a single horse is sporty. In the spring, the brutes were full of buck and ball. Now they're gentle as they're dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And the cook leads the retreat, perched up high upon his seat. He's got his hat furled way down low upon his head. He used to make that old team hustle. Now he hardly moves a muscle, and a feller might imagine he were dead. Except his old cob pipe is smoking as he lets that team go poking, hitting every hump and holler in the road. No, the cook, he ain't been drinking. He's just sitting up there thinking about the places and the people that he knowed. And you see the dust a-trailing, and way up high, the blue clouds sailing, and a big mirage with lakes and timbers tall. Now it's lonely as you're dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall. And when you make your camp that night, though the fire's burning bright, it seems nobody has too much to say. In the spring you sung and hollered. Now you get your supper swallowed and you turn into your blankets right away. And you see the stars a-shining way up in that big blue lining. And you sniff the night air, frosty, clear and cool. And you hear your night horse shifting as those memories start to drifting to that little village where you went to school, with its narrow gravel streets and the kids you used to meet in the commons where you used to play baseball. Now you're far away and dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when you finish shipping cattle in the fall. And your schoolboy sweetheart too, with her eyes of honest blue, best performer in the hometown talent show. Oh, you liked her. Sure you did, but you were just a kid. Now that's been over 30 years ago. And your memory starts to roam from old Mexico to Nome, from the Rio Grande clear up to the Powder River, of the things you seen and done. Some of them were lots of fun, but some of them, well, they still make you shiver. Like the boy by name of Reed, he was killed in that stampede way up north. You helped to dig his grave. And your old friend Jim the boss, he got tangled with his hoss. Boys couldn't reach him in time to save. You were there when Ed got his'n. The boy that killed him is still in prison. And old Lucky George is rich and living high. Old Tom come out the worst. He broke his leg and died of thirst. That must have been an awful way to die. And them winters at the ranches and them old-time country dances, everybody there was sociable and gay. We used to lead 'em down the middle, just a prancing to the fiddle, never thought of going home till break of day. Yeah, there ain't much chance of sleeping when those memories come a-creeping, and you think you hear those lonesome voices call when a feller starts to dragging to the home ranch with the wagon when they finish shipping cattle in the fall.